So the plot thickens with this Ian Garry getting kicked out of Leon Edwards' gym. I covered this story a few days ago, and again it was filled with delusions from Ian Garry. He had gotten it into his head because he was told to leave Leon Edwards' Renegade gym, that it was because of his elite skills as a fighter and not because his obnoxious, screechy voice. And we've seen Team Renegade in the last 24 hours come out, diplomatically respond to this, and they said sometimes coaches allow fighters to come in from the outside, but this is very much a privilege and not the norm. If the coaches feel like you're not adding to the team's culture, a fighter is refused entrance. Ian Garry's nomadic approach to preparation has given him a great result, but it's not in line with what we're creating at Team Renegade. This has nothing to do with one specific fighter or a specific coach, except for Ian Cuckchad Garry seems to be the guy who's getting kicked out of gyms left, right and centre, and that's where I'm going with this video. This is not the first time. This might be breaking news to some people. It was definitely news to me. Other people that are more in depth with what he was doing previously with Cage Warriors probably know a lot more about this. I've been digging into it a little bit and it's actually crazy. There's a bombshell video here which really does prove how this guy has been manipulated by this older predator type female that he's married to, and it's quite disgusting. And as we track the trajectory of him meeting this older lady, being seduced by this older lady, and now being completely and utterly cucked by this old lady, it really does show a transition. And I was wrong. I was completely wrong in my last video. I'll hold my hands up and I'll say it. I said that he was doing pretty well up until he got to the Neil Magny fight, and then he pushed the barrier too far and people just turned against him. Kind of like the Paddy Pimblett and Jared Gordon thing. Completely wrong. I've gone back and I've watched this vile piece of excrement talk this trash all the way back in his cage fighter days, all the way through to his debut in the UFC. And what the common thread seems to be is the Yoko Ono effect, where this lady has come in and this very influential, malleable mind of this screechy teenager has fallen foul to it. And we can see right off the bat, as soon as the influence of this lady came into his life and started demanding to be in his corner, I guess everything kind of went downhill in terms of attitude, loyalty, and everything that comes with being a team player. Discovered this Team KF martial arts tweet last night from 2021, and it outlines again how Ian Garry was chucked out of another gym. So we're seeing a track record start to build here. And if I'm making another prediction, I'm saying as we go forward with Ian Garry being at the forefront of the UFC cringe list, we're going to see more revelations from other gym owners or gym users saying that this dude had to go. Intolerable. And one of the main reasons, not only is it his screechy, obnoxious personality, it's the fact that his bird is following him around, pulling the strings left, right and center. And I'll show you some insane proof of that during an interview from this exact time period. So I'm going to read this tweet, try to break down exactly the origins of why he got kicked out of this gym, and it might explain a little bit more to us about why he got kicked out of the Leon Edwards gym. So this is the Team KF martial arts, where he used to train as an amateur and all the way up to be a champion. And I think 10 days before his second title shot, he was left go by these guys. He got the road, he was told hop it, and they put out this statement. This past week, Team KF stayed silent out of respect for Cage Warriors promotion, to minimize any disruption to the fantastic fights that they promote, and also not to interfere with the welterweight title bout on fight week. We now want to take the opportunity to set the record straight on the back of some statements and insinuations from the current welterweight champion and his manager. Team KF adheres to a set of ethics and values that are sacred above the needs of any other individual member. Some of the values that we openly promote are loyalty, honor and respect. Where an individual no longer abides by these values and expects special privileges in regard to their contribution to the club, that individual will be informed that their position as a team member is untenable. No individual is bigger than the overall welfare and safety of the team. With that in mind, Ian Garry was informed that he is no longer a member of the club after repeated warnings regarding his behaviour to other teammates and coaches that had become distinct since employment of a new manager in March. After this appointment, he became uncoachable. This is not a decision that was taken lightly, as a considerable time and resources were dedicated to Ian's training at the cost of the club. Since he made his amateur debut a dozen fights ago, up until he attained a world title fight under the tutelage of our coaches, with the support of his teammates. Team KF is drawing a line under this matter. We will return our focus to training even more champions in the future and helping other members to achieve their fitness and martial arts goals. A decent press release from this gym. Loyalty, honour, respect. All these words were mentioned as if Ian Garry had lost all of them because of his new manager. So as the story goes within the circles that actually know what was going on with Ian Garry and KF Martial Arts Gym, his wife came in, got in his ear, became his manager, started demanding insanely crazy things, started telling him that he was the future, that he was going to be this huge massive star, which in fairness he was a decent fighter and he was on a good trajectory, so I don't think he needed that in his ear. Obviously insecurities played into that. We had the whole Beatles Yoko Ono type situation. It got to the point where he was being disrespectful, he was saying outlandish shit to his coaches and to his teammates, and they had to let him go. That was it. He was done. He was gone out the door. And it's understandable because if we look at where he's ended up, you know, he's taken his wife's ex-boyfriend's name, which she doesn't have, for himself. He uses that in the UFC, unironically, as if it's not a joke. Under the managerial skills of his wife, she has appointed her ex-boyfriend as his nutritionist, who turns him into a vegan whilst he eats steak and meat. And he also lives with them. So we know where we're going with this story. And I mean, I've been digging around online and I came across this bombshell of a video where, listen, it just exemplifies exactly what this dude is about. So he shows up here with Sean Sheehan doing an interview before this title fight. Because it was news at the time within the Cage Warrior MMA scene that he had gotten booted out of his actual gym where he had trained for years, that had got him to where he needed to be, then of course the interviewer is going to ask the question why. Let's have a little look and see what happens when he asks the question.
With that said, I suppose this is a tough question, but it needs to be asked. There's been lots of rumors going around about you and the team, and about, you know, you possibly having left the team. What is your what have you to say about that? And you know, everyone is talking about it. It's, as you said, like everyone is talking. You haven't said a word yet. Well, now's your opportunity. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm going to interrupt 1 second.
I know. They're, I suppose you've heard some stuff yet, but
I'm gonna rewind back. So he was asked the question as a man, why you left the team, why was there this abrupt splitting 10 days before a welterweight title fight, and his current girlfriend interjects, puts her hand on his shoulder. He, like a little puppy, looks up, nods his head and goes, okay, as if to say, I am not supposed to speak out of place here. I'm being told what to do like a cooked tardio. Let's see.
As you said, like everyone is talking, you haven't said a word yet. Well, now's your opportunity. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm going to interrupt 1 second.
What? Can you imagine any other fighter on the UFC roster engaging in an interview, being asked a question about some like turmoil within camp and within training scenarios, and their girlfriend comes in, sticks a hand on the shoulder, sticks half her head into the screen and says, I'm going to interrupt here a second. He looks off screen, gets told what to do by this chick who's like 40 years older than him, and then he comes back then with this diplomatic answer that he was fed.
I'll let my words come out in the octagon. I'll go in there, I'll do my job, I'll put in my performance, and then I'll speak afterwards, and everyone will know then.
Sidestepped the question, didn't answer it because the girlfriend, wife / mother type figure was there telling him not to say this and not to say that. So the interview goes on a small bit, and the interviewer asks another question about the coach that had trained with him, had gotten him to where he needs to be. Check out the reaction. Does he answer it organically from the heart, just telling the truth, or is there an ulterior person / motive in the room with him? Let's check that out.
The lineage of Cage Warriors belt in your, you know, the team that you have kind of come up with was Carl Pindred. And what will it be like for you fighting and not having, you know, we know Chris feels this booming voice. We hear it every time, you know, there's a Team KF guy fighting. What will it be like for you to not have that in the corner and not have that voice with you?
Dude, it's something again. Yeah, I know. It's something that I've been prepared.
What the hell is going on here? It's like, I know. Okay. It's like he's been held hostage off screen and he wants to say stuff. He wants to answer this question as best as he can. And she's there like barking in the background, telling him, don't say this, don't say that, don't say this, don't say that. And he's like, I know. You're talking about being unprofessional. That's his manager. This is who he ditched his team for and totally turned on all of his teammates and lost loyalty, lost respect, showed nothing but disgusting behaviour towards them. But that's how he got kicked out, and now she's here telling him what to do.
Yeah, I know. It's...
Oh man. The exemplification of being under the thumb. Having a conversation during an interview and someone else getting involved. You turn around and you tell them to shut the fuck up. Shut your mouth right now. Or get out of here. Simple as that. You know what I mean? Surely there's a sandwich to be made somewhere. Move on. I saw this little tweet here last night, and it'll tell you where they are in terms of a couple. You know, Leila Machado Gary, I can't even stand saying it. What's the Machado bit about? That's your ex who lives with us, who turned your boyfriend into a vegan? What? So she's putting on a tweet. The ego of Ian Garry is beyond awesome. He has just said the main reason I don't like to watch tape on my opponent is that it gives me too much of an advantage. I feel almost annoyed no one else was here to hear that, so I'm getting it to you. Cringe, embarrassing. Somebody comes up. Good thing he sucks though. She responds, actually, I'm the one that sucks. Winky face. And then this cringe comes in. And she's effing awesome at it too. Queen emoji. Cool. I think it's very interesting that in the past we now know that it was revealed that KF Martial Arts did a diplomatic statement about why he got booted because he wasn't loyal and he didn't show respect to other fighters. Team Renegade did it this week as well. Nice little cover story, diplomatic answer, but bottom line is Ian Garry is getting kicked out of gyms left, right and centre because of a weird, strange relationship with an older person who seems to be directing his life into this bizarre cuckold lifestyle and to be the most obnoxious guy on any roster or in any gym. Let me know your thoughts down below. Cheers.